Back there?
Yeah.
Really, the last 3 days, still trying to probe and find out kind of where we're at as a team, especially when it comes to practicing. And today was one that was based on helmet and shoulder pads, and really a series of long drives, 8-play drives, 10-play drives. It's one of those practices I didn't tell the coaches, I didn't tell the players what I was looking for, and basically looking for us as far as what type of condition were we in. These are the type of practices that collectively as a team you have to run, and the fact that you're going to go 8 plays in a row could happen in a series, could happen on the road when we're playing against an opponent. I wanted to see where we were at mentally and physically, and didn't do well, to be quite honest. Didn't do well. Kind of anticipated a little bit of that. We can blame it on the heat, but it's not going to matter. He has no effect on any of us. So I was just prodding to kind of see where we're at. Told the team that after I got done. This is why we practiced this way today. They thought it was a shorter practice, and it was a shorter practice. But there was a reason it was a shorter practice. It was more of a conditioning, mentally and physically, to see what they could take. And I think you got to do that as a coach. I learned that a long time ago, and we'll get better at it. So, a little check mark, and I checked off that we continue to have to try to improve in that area.
Hey, Coach, adversity for you as a coach, this has been a few months, it's been exciting for you, but can you elaborate some of the things that you've gone through, your progression too?
Well, getting to know the players and the staff, that's the first thing you realize when you come back to coaching. I knew some of these guys from afar. There's a few people that I've known, but for the most part, learning personalities, learning what buttons to push on players. That's very important. You got to know your players, and you got to know your core players. You got to know the ones that you can lean on, like a practice today. There's guys you got to lean on to make them get the guys going, not the coach. We have a few guys like that. I'm just trying to figure out a couple more, so eventually you can turn it over to them. When you know you're going into a practice like this, you basically, there's always this leadership group that you go to before it starts, and you say, look, that's what we're doing today now. You got to get them going, and generally they understand that, and they kind of organize it and run it.
You talked about coming here and knowing some of the people. One guy that you brought over is Kevin Mawai. Talk about the relationship you have with him going back to the days of New York Jets.
Well, obviously a great player, a great friend. We kept in contact from my days away from the Jets, obviously. It's ironic, when I took the job, he was living here, and it just kind of worked out. And he wanted to get back into football, so it was an easy get for me. I mean, he's a fabulous guy, a great player. Daughter goes to school here, and so all the dots connected. But for Kevin, I think when you look at him as a player, now he's trying to develop as a coach, and anything I can do to help him and help former players, I think that's always good. I was helped along the way by a coach that I played for in college. That's like my first job was at San Jose State. Claude Gilbert, he gave me an opportunity to become a coach when I retired. He called me up and said, hey, come up to San Jose State, I got to talk to you about something. I went up there, the next day hired me. I said, okay, I'm a coach now. So, it's things like that you remember, and if I can help Kevin, obviously, it's a pleasure to have him around here.
Coach, have you, obviously the offensive line is a really important unit for this team, so have you been tracking their progress throughout the spring, and what's standing out to you?
Well, Coach Christian has done a nice job. There's about 10 guys that have been practicing for the most part. We've had some injuries over there, but remember this, we have 5 newcomers coming in. It'll be interesting when you guys go to practice the first day they show up and you look at them, you go, okay, now I see what he's talking about. And then some of them are veteran players. We know the names, we know where they're coming from. So that whole dynamics of that will change. It'll change tremendously. Now they'll come in here and compete for jobs, but hey, that's what this thing's all about, is about competing. So it'll be interesting when those 21 other guys come in to see how the competition kind of rears its head again and it starts all over again. So that'll be fun.
As you've mentioned previously, quarterback under center more this spring. I know what you like. What does that do for the quarterback position from a rhythm and timing, or just the way that they see the field, all those variables?
Well, when they play action, they got to turn their back away from the defense. And you have to understand coverages, and the great quarterbacks understand that generally once they arrive under center, they've already computed the situation, the down, the distance. I've always said the great quarterbacks read your mail. That's what they do. They walk up to the line of scrimmage and before the ball snaps, they're trying to read the mail. 2 of the better ones, 3 of the better ones we know of is obviously Peyton Manning. He's going to try to read your mail. Tom Brady, read your mail. Drew Brees, they read it. They look at the formation, they look at the set, they look at the safeties, they look at the front. This is before the ball snap. You can't read it when the ball snaps. You got to do this all when you're breaking the huddle. And then when they get under center, if it's a play action pass, they realize I'm going to turn my back away from the defense. They're looking at 2 things when they turn their back. Once they square back up, they're looking at the safety, looking at the linebacker, they understand what the coverage is, they get rid of it. So it's hard to play under center when you have to turn your back away from the defense. And that's where a lot of quarterbacks fall short. Because once they play action and they turn away, they can't see it. That defense can change dramatically. So the guys that do a good job of that are the guys you see that have a lot of success in our league.
And so building off that, what from a teaching standpoint, like how do you actually develop that stuff?
Well, it's a process of actually practicing. It's like anything else, and when you don't do it a lot, that hinders your ability to go under there. And we've done enough already, and Manny wants to do it. He knows that if he has an opportunity to go to the next level, he's going to be asked to do that. They're not playing not under the center in the next league. They go under center. And so he realizes that. And it's good for us. I just feel like you bring a little bit more to your offense when you can do that. Most defenses now are set up to play against quarterbacks that never get under center. So now all of a sudden you go under center, they got to teach that. They got to teach, okay, now what kind of runs do they run from there? What type of play actions? Do they boot? Do they waggle? You got to practice all those things defensively. When the quarterback's just standing there, guess what? We get it. Okay, when you go under center, it's a whole new dimension to the offense.
It's not just the position players like running backs and quarterback. It's your linemen too.
Sure. It's everybody. It's the center. All of a sudden, the quarterback center exchange is important. Everybody thinks that's easy. Yeah, really? Not that easy. To hike the ball to the quarterback. How do you do that? Well, I'm not under there a whole lot anymore. Well, you got to get under there. The timing of it has to be right. So all that, it's a different element.
You worked with the secondary a lot. Who's someone that's really kind of helped themselves throughout the course of the spring?
Oh, I don't know if, I don't like to say one guy, because when you do that, these kids read everything. Oh, the coach, one guy. I just think I'm smarter than that. You can't ask me that question. I'm smart. I know how to answer those questions now. I think as a whole, from what we've asked them to do compared to where they were, if you watch, you've been out there almost every practice. You can see the improvement, just in the footwork, the confidence in what we're asking them to do. That's the pleasure of coaching. Is when you have a piece of clay and you say, look, this is what we're going to do. And you got to buy into this. And in the first couple, practices, week, it was hard. It was like, but now you watch them and you keep watching them and you keep watching them, and now, I always say repetition is the key to success. You got to just keep doing it. So the repetition becomes who you are. And now all of a sudden they get it. They're starting to get it. Now what they got to do is transfer it in big moments of a game and competition, continue to do it. Because that's going to make them better players. So I think as a group, as well as the linebackers. Linebackers have to do something. The defensive line, all of a sudden, it's a movement front. They got to run a lot of games up there. All those things are new for these guys, and they've all done a nice job of trying to buy into what we're asking them to do.
Can you talk a little bit about your special teams? You have a kicker and a punter back. What do you think of that piece of it and just special teams in general?
Well, it's critical. It's a third of the plays, and we've got an excellent special team coach. I know Coach Slocum from way back. He was dad. He's been in the league. The special team coach, the weight coach, and the trainer. if you think about their jobs, they see the players as much as I do. Every player, they touch every player. They touch every player. That's how it works. And so you have to have a guy that is that's well aware of what he's about to say to these guys and how he says is important. So, here's a guy that's been in the league, has been very successful. I'm fortunate enough to keep him here. And we're going to bring in some return guys. They're not even on campus yet. Like I said, when I first got here, one of the things I looked at, we had 2 punt returns for 10 yards. That's hard to do. You might can run one of those. Maybe I can run half the other one. I can pass it to toss it off to Mark, and he can run the other 10 yards. We got to improve there. And when you look at college football, special teams is big. I mean, it's always big, and it never shows its head until big games, big moments. When all of a sudden the game is won or lost because of a kick or a bobble kick or a great return or whatever. And it's another part of your offense. Now, what makes this guy so good, they have a knack of blocking kicks. That's big. I mean, that's like, and this is a confident group when it comes to blocking kicks. We got to get more confident now returning kicks. We know how to block them. Can we return them? Can we return kickoffs? Can we return punts? If we can do that, they're going to be hard to handle.
Coach, I've seen you have several conversations with Steve Turkovich. Can you talk about your guys' relationship?
Well, I have conversations with everybody. That's probably who you see me talk to. But, I try to pick a couple guys every day that I talk to. When you have a 90-man roster, you want to make sure you communicate with all the players. And I try to do that. Sometimes it's on the field, sometimes it's in the cafeteria, sometimes it's in the weight room, sometimes in the locker room. I just kind of make my rounds. There's certain guys I mess with all the time. I got a few that are my pet peeves. I always kind of press their buttons a little bit, see where they're going. That's just me. That's my personality. I've always been that way. I just think the more that I can communicate with guys, the better, because then they get a feel for who I am too. This is, coaching's relationship building. And as a head coach, when you got 90 guys, look, you gotta touch them all. I have some conversations longer with other guys, but at least I'm aware of who they are. And I think if you're a player, you appreciate that.
Anybody else?
Okay.
All right, thanks, Coach.